he had such a hard boner that he had to take a cold ass plunge. Today we're watching episode 3. It's called The Field Next to the Other Road. So let's get into it. We left off at the Cavenders' party where Benedict took Sophie in, and now they're on their merry way to London. Which in the books it's actually, they're not on the way to London because London is way too far away. Also, why the hell would you want to go to London in an open carriage in the middle of the night? There are no street lamps. So that's a little bit of a weird thing to do, in my humble opinion.
The cottage feels somewhat misleading.
It's like when a guy says, I have a small card collection, and then there's a whole room filled with TCGs.
I don't need to carry keys. Someone simply is here.
What a privileged thing. Just imagine. Do not have to carry keys.
I climbed through the window.
This is a very nice change from the books, because in the books it is Benedict who opens the door. He goes and fetches a spare key, which opens another entrance, I guess, and then he opens the door from the inside. I really like how they did that, because it just makes, Sophie quite quirky and cool, because she's the one to climb through a window and open the door, and I really like that. It's just that Sophie in the show is so much better than Sophie in the books, and it's not even, Sophie in the books is not bad, not at all. She's even one of the more interesting female leads in the books. But they just gave her so much flair, and I really enjoy that. So we have Sophie being a little bit jealous about the dresses that are there.
He did not mention there was a lady of the house. It would be right for me to wear her clothing.
And then Benedict's like,
Dresses belong to my sisters, and they're old. They will not mind.
and she's like, oh, okay, then okay, then I can wear them. In the books, he actually doesn't have any women's clothes. Benedict offers her his own clothes, which is also kind of cute, because it's like the Regency era equivalent to wearing your boyfriend's sweater. She's walking around with his huge clothes until the Crabtrees arrive. But at that point, when he tells her that she also has to change because they're obviously both drenched, there is a similar thing where she's like, you have women's clothes? Is there a lady of the house? But obviously he just offers her his clothes, and she's like, okay, I'm fine. Oh, that looks a little bit dangerous. This is different from the books, because in the books Benedict is actually sick. He was sick before Cavender's party, but it has gotten a little bit better. But because of the rain and because it's cold on the carriage, it gets worse again. And then he catches a fever again, and then he's in bed, shuffling around as he does here. It's just a little bit weird. Why is my boy shuffling around in bed like that? Why is he doing whatever he's doing? That's a little bit weird. Anyway, in the book he's just sick, and they changed that to, he was heroically fighting the Cavender guy, and, he got cut and stuff. Obviously, being cut is way more appealing than just being snotty and sick. So I'm fine with that change. Why is he convulsing like that? Sorry, I just cannot take this serious.
Kiss me. Do not leave me again.
One thing you would have to know. In the books, 2 years pass between Benedict meeting the Lady in Silver and meeting Sophie. And in those 2 years, not only years pass, but Sophie loses a lot of weight because she works under difficult circumstances, and she chops off her hair because she sells it. So she actually looks a lot different as well. And in that time, Benedict stops thinking about her. He searches for her for a year, and then he finally gives up. And then in the second year, he tries to forget about it. He also kind of does. He doesn't think about it much anymore. Only here, after meeting Sophie and having this fever, he dreams about her again. And he used to have a lot of dreams about the Lady in Silver, but those of course stopped after he gave up. And here he has his first dream in such a long time again, obviously triggered by Sophie, which makes this whole thing so much more interesting, but also it makes way more sense than in the show, because in the show a month passes or so and he just doesn't realize it's her. Nothing changed. She looks the exact same, the same lips, the same hair, the same body, everything is the same, and my boy has no idea. But yeah, that's kind of the backstory to why these dreams kind of get triggered, right? So he also calls out for her and asks her to kiss him, but a lot of times. And in the book, Sophie actually kisses him. She's like, well, might as well take the chance. And the next day, he kind of remembers a little bit, and then he asks whether he did something that was not okay while he was feverish. And she said, no. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. In the book, Sophie actually snoops around quite a lot in his room. Even before he goes to bed, she looks at like a rock collection, and he has little figurines of his sisters and brothers, and he actually catches her doing that. Then later on, after she like calms him down a bit and he has his fever and all of that, she snoops around some more, as one does. And then she finds a picture of herself in the silver gown. So we have the next day here. The Crabtrees arriving.
Please, sit.
She's not staying because she's thoughtful. She's staying as a chaperone. So we have a similar thing like that in the book where the Crabtrees are there. This is also one of those things where Benedict's like, oh, she looks so happy about the food, and like she's like really enjoying that. It is kind of similar to when he met the lady in silver, who was so taken aback by the beauty of the ballroom that she was so happy and excited about it. And that's kind of the same thing, you know, but just about food. Oh. No. Oh. He realized something. He realized that he looked at her and smirked at her. So I guess he likes the quirky maid, who's really cool and quirky. I also like her.
Gregory isn't eaten now.
You know what that means? Gregory will go to Eton. That's crossed off the bingo card.
It gives the impression of real feeling.
Yes,
Oh,
that was my intention.
that's cute.
On peut parler en français.
What is wrong with my pronunciation?
It would be better if you keep your jaw perfectly still and rely on your lip. Focus on the lips.
Benedict, focus on the lips, please.
Préféré.
Lips. Benedict. So this scene doesn't exist like this in the book, and I really like it. Of course, in the books, Benedict is only in bed almost all the time, and Sophie is there and talks to him in the room because she spends time with him because she is the guest and she's not allowed to, you know, work. She does still try to help and work a little bit. They spend quite a lot of time and also talk to each other. About the paintings, as I already said, she found them when she snooped around, but they also like spend a lot of time and get to know each other, and she reads to him while he's in bed, which is also kind of cute. But I also like this interaction, and I mean, he looks at her lips and focuses on the lips. Benedict, it's been a month. My boy, you are so confused sometimes. I kind of have to keep this in there because it's a pollen scene. I guess they have a little thing for carriages. They're so crazy. I love it.
You are
I like
his
this
guest.
egg holder in the back. It's
Comfortable
egg-shaped
chair.
as well. In the book, the Crabtrees are not really interfering there. There is no, you should know your place and anything like that. Mrs. Crabtree loves Sophie. She loves her so much. She wants to keep her. She tells Benedict, can we have her? Because we're getting old and it would be kind of cool to have some help around here because the house is big and, you know, like she wants to work, obviously. So, like, can we just have her? So there's no thing like that. But I do believe they put it in there because in the books, everything that Mrs. Crabtree said are things that Sophie thinks about. Like, I need to know my place, and just because he's nice to me doesn't mean, and you know, she's like constantly thinking about, no, I'm a maid. Like, there's no way. Also, this kite flying scene, again, not in the books. I love it. It's an amazing addition. Benedict is trying to show her how to have fun because Sophie is like super strict and like she has like this super hard work ethic, but she just never enjoys anything. And I guess this is just a wall she has built up around herself. So then we have Sophie going for a little walk. She actually found a rock there. I think this is an Easter egg for the book readers. So in the book, he actually feels like someone is watching him. Like he can kind of sense Sophie. That's also what happened in the ballroom. He already felt her presence before he saw her. And in the books, he actually also knew that it was Sophie. He then called out for Sophie and was like, hey, Sophie, come out. I know it's you. And then she, of course, came out. Oh, the joy he has. Oh, just watching you. The callback to the ugly dress. Mr. Crabtree did this.
And Mr. Crabtree informed me there was a lake nearby.
Is that what happened? Pretty sure Mr. Crabtree looked at his wife and was like, might as well push Sophie into the direction of the lake. The book is a little more diabolical when it comes to the lake scene. Before the lake scene happens. This is not something where Benedict is just, you know, going for a little swimmy swim. Benedict is in his bed and Sophie keeps reading books to him. Then they also have tea and they have cookies and he observes her, and then he realized, I like it. I would like to have it for myself. Sophie got up and his pee-pee got up as well. And he was like, oh shit. And he tells her like he has to conduct some business or whatnot. She's like, what kind of business? You're sick. You have to rest. Then he's like, I need to shit. I have to poop my poopy pants and you have to leave. And then she goes out. Benedict gets up with his boner, puts on his shoes, climbs out of the window and shoots for the lake. Because the only thing that in his mind is going to help is a cold plunge. And that's why he goes swimming. Because he had such a hard boner that he had to take a cold ass plunge for it to get better. Can you imagine? Oh, their theme music is so good. In the book, Benedict actually pulls her closer to kiss her. I really like this a lot more, where they're like, you know, talking to each other and like stepping closer and closer and closer, and then they're just like, might as well. Very cute. And I also like how in the end, like she's quirky and she's like, oh, we should,
We shall later convene.
because she's just a little bit of a weird ass person. And I love it. It makes her so quirky and cute. I really, really enjoy her character in the show. It's so good. In the books, it actually, let me tell you, in the book, it gets quite juicy. As we know from season 3, we have the carriage scene, infamous carriage scene from the book. For Benedict's book, it is the lake scene, because this goes a little further than just that. They kiss each other, then they start arguing. He says to her that she's way too knowledgeable to be a maid and like she should at least be a governess, and then she kind of gets offended and she's like, nobody wants me to be a governess. I'm way too young, I do not have any credentials. He's like, and you're too pretty. And she's like, oh, thank you. No, she's not like she's not like that, but I was like that when I was reading that. Yeah, and then they like start fighting and then they keep making out. They somehow land on the ground. They just crawl around on the I don't know. It is a little bit weird. He like had like this whole speech of, I want to be there for you, I want to be your rock, and I want to treat you nice, and I want to buy you silk gowns, because he hates her ugly dresses. And he keeps talking about how ugly he finds them. Then she's like, you want me to be your mistress? And he's like, yeah, yeah, I kind of do. So they have like this super hot makeout session and fighting in between. And then in the end, she like pushes him away. She's like, no, I don't want to be a mistress. I don't want to be a mistress. Also, another change in the end is because he wants her to be his mistress, he wants her to come to London. And then he blackmails her. He's like, you're either going to come with me freely, or I'm going to tell the police that you stole from me. And she's like, excusez-moi, what? You know that they are probably gonna hang me or send me to like Australia or something. And he was like, no, if I tell them to release you into my custody as a punishment, then you're not gonna go to Australia and you're not gonna be hanged. She's like, okay, so either I go with you freely or you force me through the police to be like your property. And he's like, yeah. So safe to say, Book Benedict is a little problematic.
Yet you do not treat her as such.
Now again, this does not happen in the books like that, but we have Mrs. Crabtree kind of being the reasonable one and telling Benedict it's all nice and dandy if you have fun with Sophie, besides the fact that it will be really bad for Sophie. But do you even actually know that she wants to do that? Because
her station does not allow her a choice in the matter, does it?
She's dependent on the work that you are going to provide to her, so
she must acquiesce because it is what you wish.
Which is a valid point, obviously. Not true. My girl is simping for this boy like crazy, but Mrs. Crabtree doesn't know, and it is a valid point, you know? And on the other side, you know, this whole class difference thing, it is an issue. This is not something that happens in the book, but those are thoughts that Sophie has. She's like, you know, at some point, Benedict is going to have to meet an honorable lady and marry.
One day, you will meet a suitable young lady.
Becoming a mistress and then having to watch him get married. If you're lucky, you can stay the mistress while he has a wife and has to father legitimate children, and you are also gonna get children. And that's something that Sophie keeps thinking about. She's like, all of the mistresses get with child at some point. Of course, it could be that he is super nice and like he watches out for her and her children, but it could also happen the way it happened with Sophie and her father. He could just die and then not provide for you anymore. Also, especially in the books, Lord Penwood is not as nice as he seems to be in the show. So it's even worse. All of these things are thoughts from Sophie, and they try to like have it here as the reasonable Mrs. Crabtree, explaining everything to us, the viewer.
I apologise. It was improper.
May not speak of it or this episode ever again.
Aw, she's so hurt. So we have basically Benedict apologizing because he fears that he made her do it because of this power imbalance, right?
I regret it.
And he's not apologizing because he didn't want to kiss her or because he's like, oh, you're a maid and I do not want to kiss you. Like, Benedict is the last person who would have an issue with that. There is this, like, exactly what Mrs. Crabtree said. Sophie would have to acquiesce because she is a maid in his household, or she wants to become a maid in his household, so she will do whatever he wants her to do. Especially if she came from a place like the Cavenders, where she already was almost assaulted. Of course, Miss Crabtree will think that Sophie will think she has to do those things, you know? That's why he apologized. But of course, it hurts Sophie's feelings because she thinks he regrets it because he didn't want to kiss her. So this is very painful. We see Benedict finally starting to paint a picture of the lady in the silver gown. And then, of course, we have them leaving My Cottage, which means there's only one full episode with My Cottage so far, which puts us in a nice position because I believe the last one is going to be at My Cottage as well.
Assume you have a route to London you wish to offer?
No, this would not be my place.
It's not her place, huh? Paramore? Who made this decision? They need they need 2 raises. 2. So what's next? The next episode, of course, in which I see you and you will see me. Bye.
We don't give a fuck.